In today's video, you're going to get to see a beautiful 1979 Corvette. Hello everybody and welcome to Classic Car ChitChat. My name is Kevin. If this is the first time you're coming to my channel, then welcome. I really appreciate you being here today. If you've been to my channel before, then as always, welcome back. Thank you so much for the comments that you leave for me, for your thumbs up, for you subscribing to my channel, and also remembering to hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is being released. Today, you're going to meet a gentleman. His name is Ron. Ron has a gorgeous 1979 Corvette with quite the story. This car was originally owned by his stepfather back in 1983. Sadly, he had to sell it because he bought a house. Just like so many of us lost our cars because we had to buy houses. He then purchased it again a few years later, but then had to sell it again because he got sick. 36 years later, Ron found this car and he's going to tell you the story about it himself. The car is stunning, it's black, she's got the L82 engine, and in addition to that, she's got the side exhaust pipes too. So without further ado, let's hop in, let's go for a drive, and let's check out this beautiful 1979 Corvette. Oh, look at this. Whoa, Ron, she's beautiful. Rev the engine. Honk the horn. Awesome. Turn her off. Wow. What can I say? This is incredible.
Thank you.
Tell me what this is.
So this is a 1979 Chevrolet Corvette that has a lot of family history.
Okay.
It was owned in, my stepfather actually looked for it in 1983. It took him months to find the exact model he wanted. So he bought it in May of 1983, and then he had it for a year and a half, sold it in the fall of 85 to get a down payment for a house for our family to live together.
Right. Okay.
And then he and my mom were driving around about a year later and saw it driving down the road.
No way.
So they followed the guy
He
to his...
recognized it, right?
Yeah, well, it had the blue pinstriping on it.
Wow.
So he followed the gentleman to his house and said, if you ever want to sell it, let me know and I'll buy it for you. No questions asked.
My God.
So 2 weeks later, the guy calls him back. It says, I'm getting married, it's got to go. So that was in May of 1986.
You see the things marriage does to people? Sorry, but...
No comment, Kevin.
I digress for a moment.
So he bought it back, and he owned it from 86 again until 1994 when he had to sell it because he had multiple sclerosis.
Oh, wow.
So he wasn't able to drive it anymore.
Right.
So that was 28 years ago, and I still had the insurance slips that had the VIN number on it in the toolbox. And last June of this year, I decided to see if I could track it down. And I found it 2.5 hours from home.
No way.
Yeah, I found the guy on Facebook and sent a message saying, hey, you know, my dad used to own this car. I'd love to chat about it.
So it stayed in Ontario?
It stayed in Ontario. 2 owners over 28 years.
Good Lord.
The gentleman that bought it from us had it for 23 years. And then the last owner had it for 5. So he responded to me and said, well, it's going up for sale soon if you're interested. And 3 months later, I went and picked it up. So I've had it for about 2 months now.
Good for you. Good for you. But what a story, though. Like,
it really is.
Something else. Like, what are the chances of everything? Like, the stars had aligned at that moment in time.
And there's so many little details in that story, things that had to line up just right for this to work out. It is a really incredible story.
I bet. Just the chances of everything being exactly at the right time, right? Somebody wanting to sell it.
Yep.
You know what?
Yep.
It's just amazing.
I expected to find it sitting rotting in someone's driveway.
Yeah.
You know? And
or somebody had modified it or changed it completely.
Absolutely,
or
yeah.
So is this the original, like the color, everything? This is the way
it's the original black. This was repainted in 1983. My stepfather had the stripe work done on it. And I know it's still the current paint because if you look on this side, the badge sits at the top of the stripe, and over on this side, it sits in the middle of the stripe.
Is that right?
So it's a little-
Let me pick that up. Now that you point, yes, you're right.
A little mistake in the finishing work, but it's when I knew it was the same, the exact same paint job.
So is this actually painted on? It's not.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know how people do that. Like it's such an art.
It truly is. It truly is.
Incredible. They just make it look easy and flawless, isn't it?
Yeah. He was thinking about going with red or blue, and I'm really glad he went with blue.
Yes. It just looks amazing.
It truly does.
You know what? You never quite really get how long the front of the Corvette is.
It's long.
It is long.
It's
yes.
very long.
And I get what you're saying. Like it's hard for you
Judging
to judge
that nose
where the
is,
front end
yeah, it's difficult. So the side pipe exhaust is off a '69 Corvette.
Okay,
So it's not factory from the car.
but it seems to work. And
It seems to work,
yes,
yep.
absolutely. It's the detail on this car that's just amazing.
It's such a nice body style. There's not many cars in my mind that have the appeal that these body lines have.
It's these lines that do it to me every time. Just
Yeah.
the way she curves there.
And when we go for a ride, you'll see if you look in the side view mirror, all you see is the fender flare.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the visibility out the back is not fantastic.
That's all right. You just look straight
I'm
ahead.
getting used to backing it up.
No, you know what? But honestly, it is what it is. But that's
Yep.
just lovely. Wow. It's just a magical, magical design.
I
And
think
I
so.
love how the antenna just kind of gets tucked away. Doesn't
Yes, it's
direct
disconnected right now.
you. Right. What is the actual name of this color? Would you know?
I think they just called it black.
Really?
I don't think it
Very-
had a
very
specific
simple,
name.
yeah. Not like
Um,
Midnight Black or something.
I could
creative?
be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was just called black.
I love the tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, the raised white lettering, man. You can't.
That
go
was
wrong.
factory. It was actually an option to get raised white lettering, and the last gentleman that owned this made sure we replaced the tires that had the raised white lettering as well.
Wow.
And it's one of those details I've always loved. Like all the pictures look back at when we had this car
Yes.
30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
It's just one of those details that really stood out.
Oh, it's interesting. Even on my MG, I like the lettering on this. I have to replace the tires, but again, I want the lettering. As opposed
just-
to the white wall. To me, I like the lettering.
Yes.
It's just something.
Yeah, it's a bit
something
more
cool about it,
detail.
for sure. She's absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you.
And I like the T-roof as well.
Yes.
No
they're-
problems with that yet?
No,
Yeah.
no, they come off, they go on. I don't have any leaks. Got to take good care of them though, because even the aftermarket companies don't duplicate the blue tinted glass anymore.
Is it actually blue?
Yes. So if you look, there's a model number. I think it's M1131, and it says blue right there.
I'm sure when we're inside we'll get... Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Yes, you get a... Wow. I do like that.
It's nice.
Yes.
It's nice. So yeah, I'm not 100% on this, but I've looked at the numbers and the percentages of the 79s that had a standard transmission and the blue tinted glass T-tops and the differential it has, the engine it has. It's possible this is one of 4 that came into Canada with the exact option package.
Really? I also like the way that was faded too.
Yes.
Right? They don't do that anymore.
No, they
That's
don't.
So cool. I used to have an 84 Trans Am back in
Okay.
the day with a T-roof also, but it was the grey, smoke
So you thought you were a
grey.
Knight Rider?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, it was my version of Kit. But yeah, I did like that. I loved that car actually. And she was black and beautiful. Wow. Can I take a look at the engine?
Of course.
So this is all original, the way it arrived, and
Yep,
you
it
haven't
needs a
done
little bit of
anything to
cleanup
it?
work over the winter, but
That's okay. A little bit of a
we'll get there.
project. Okay. So again, all stock.
yes, the rad fans have been changed out to the electric versus
yes.
the clutch fan.
I think we all have to do that.
They're quieter. There's pros and cons. Some people say the clutch fans are more efficient, but this was on it when I got it back, so I'll carry it on as long as it works.
You know, as long as it helps the engine stay cool, and
Yep.
that's the key
Yep.
thing.
The car came with factory air conditioning. The last owner removed it.
Really?
Yeah, well, he was trying to save, and it didn't work when he picked it up. So a lot of people take them out and
save the weight,
save the weight
yeah.
and the horsepower draw. But these get very, very hot in the summer, especially with the black leather. So over the winter, I'm hoping to put a vintage air system in to get the air conditioning back.
Awesome. That is incredible. There's something just special about it. This is the L82, right?
Yes. Yeah, the most obvious thing, the L48, the other engine option, had blue painted valve covers versus the black finned. Yes.
So that's how you can differentiate.
That's really the only visual that I know of from the outside. Plus the
Yes.
aluminum intake.
Yeah.
The L48, I believe, had a cast iron intake.
But the
as
actual
well.
engine color was also blue.
It was
no
Chevy
matter
blue,
what.
yeah.
But you're right.
The 1982 was the first one to have a pop-up glass, the collector's edition 82. The glass popped up.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, and then they carried that on, I believe, in the C4 series.
Are those your speakers?
So when I got it, it had no speakers
are
in the back.
bookshelf speakers,
Those
right?
are Polk Audio bookshelf speakers. Yeah,
I love it.
I needed something in the interim.
Lovely. Wow.
They do the job.
That's fantastic. You know
That's
what?
not original or
No,
stock.
but it does the job. It makes it work.
Yeah, I'm
and,
trying to track down original looking speakers that will fit in properly, but it's all a work in
May I,
progress.
take a
By all
look
means,
inside?
yes.
Look at the interior on this thing. Just lovely. You know, I love this cluster.
Yeah, everything works except for the clock. The clocks are a known issue. I know how to do the repair. That'll happen this winter as well. But everything else works.
Wow. And again, this is the way the shifter came?
Yes.
Like the chrome,
Yep.
chrome knob on it? Lovely. And what's the mileage on this thing?
It's showing 41,000 and change right now. I'm going to say that has to be 141,000.
Sure, yeah.
It was higher than that when we sold it 30 years ago.
Wow.
But we actually even opened up the transmission when I had it at my friend's shop recently, just to take a look at everything, and everything is just almost looks like there's no wear on it. So mechanically, it's been fantastic. I've put close to 3,000 kilometers on it in a couple months that I've had it.
Good for you.
I didn't save it for the next guy.
Why not? Yeah, no, go for it. Heck, we're going to put her away pretty darn soon,
Yep.
so you might as well.
Yeah, no, I've been driving it every opportunity I can.
And a standard 4-speed transmission on
Yep.
this, right?
Yeah,
No overdrive or anything like
No,
that?
just 4-speed. So on the highway, it spins pretty fast.
It sounds pretty good too when you're doing that. Wow, it's
Gets a lot of
lovely.
looks on the highway, I think partially
sure.
because of the noise coming off the concrete barriers.
You know what, I just noticed something here. I just always assumed the defroster vanes or whatever you call these things would be horizontal, but they're actually vertical here.
On most cars they do, but because of
The curve?
the curve,
Yeah.
they couldn't. They maybe could have, but it was easier to run them this way. And it
Looks
actually
cool.
still works.
It looks cool,
It
though.
actually still works.
Yeah. It actually adds to the design. Very.
It's a bit
very
more
nice.
character. It was an option as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
right,
rear
like
defroster
everything.
was an
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
Yep. So you'll notice I have to point out the flaw.
Go for it.
If you notice these stripes come down at an angle versus these ones,
Oh yeah.
that's the first way I verified that
It's the
it
same
hadn't
car.
been redone, because no one's going to reduplicate that.
True enough.
It's just character.
yes.
My stepdad hated it, but it's
It's there.
even
now.
that little detail, Kevin. It's just there's a lot of memories just in that little detail.
Definitely. Wow. The rear spoiler again, all stock. It's the way the car came.
Yeah, that was part of an option package. You could get the front and rear spoiler. I feel the cars look a little bit naked without the spoiler pack.
I like it there.
It also has the Gymkhana suspension option, which not a lot of them got. It was a
Really?
$46 option back in 1979.
Okay.
And what it gave you was a heavier front sway bar to stop body roll, an additional anti-sway bar in the rear, and heavy-duty shocks.
Wow.
So it's not gentle on the body over the bumps.
Right on. That's okay. I love it. Like everything. Look at the size of the tire. Are they the same?
No, the back are 275
Yeah.
wide, and the front are 255.
Okay.
So factory, they were, I believe the larger option was 255, 60-15 all around.
And again, stock rims. Like this is.
These are the original stock rims, yes.
They're in pretty darn good condition though.
Yeah, I'm hoping
considering.
to get them refinished, to clean them up. They've got some little pitting and that on them, but we'll see when that one happens.
Well, at least this will be the view before you get everything done, and then we'll do another one.
Absolutely, I'd love to.
This is lovely. Though. I love the emblems and everything on this car.
Yeah, the details, it was just, they did such a great job on these cars.
Totally. Should we go for a little drive?
Absolutely.
Let's do
We can't
that.
turn that down.
Absolutely. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Get her ready. I forgot to mention, I always love the handles on the
Me too.
Corvette. Like, it's
They're
just so
they're
unique.
difficult if you've got something in your hands.
Yeah.
and my daughter's not a fan when she's got her nails on, but it's just a detail I've always loved.
Oh, for sure. I think it's the coolest thing. Man. Just those little design elements that they did, isn't it? And these seats are comfortable.
They really are. For 43-year-old seats. Now, I believe they've been restuffed and covered,
Yeah.
which is understandable over the time. But they are.
You hold this camera for a
Absolutely.
second. You be the cameraman.
All right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like you feel embraced.
Yep. So these seats were. The seats didn't have the bolsters that give you that embrace feeling.
Right.
78, the silver anniversary pace car, was the first one to have them.
Okay.
And they made them standard in 79, up to 82.
See, now, I grew up in the UK, and in my head, I always called these kinds of seats Recaro seats. I don't know where that term comes from, but in my head, that seemed to be the right word.
They were one of the top brands of racing seats, the Recaros.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds, just the way you had the side bolster and everything
Yeah.
else. Look at the front end of this thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
beautiful.
the first time I went for a ride in this car, I was 10 years old, and I
go
needed
right,
phone books and a cushion to see over the dash. And now, over the bumps, I sometimes hit my head.
How times have changed. Oh, yes,
How
you
times
do,
have
yes.
changed.
I'm going to go right again.
So, I have a friend who has the same year, believe it or not.
Right.
And I asked to go sit in it before I made the commitment to buy this to make sure I still fit okay.
It's funny because my son in my MG is 6 foot something, and he's you see slightly ahead of the bar there. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I just fit right in. So for me, it was just meant to be.
Perfect.
And not only that, it dawned on me afterwards because again, I got to put my snowblower somewhere. So the MG fits perfectly in the garage, and there's just this much space for my snowblower to fit as well. It's like, hey,
Perfect car.
It's intentional, right? So,
Excellent.
wow. But the ride on this is magnificent.
It really is. It's lots of fun in the corners. Yeah, it's fairly
Sounds-
quiet, just cruising, but when you get into it a little bit, it makes some noise, which is fun.
Yeah.
My inner child loves it.
And just having that ability to rev her every now and again just makes it interesting.
And you
doesn't
don't
it?
get that in an automatic.
No, you don't. You got to work too hard to do it in an automatic.
Yeah.
I think. Put it in neutral, do it again.
Yeah,
But,
I hadn't
yeah.
driven a standard in probably 10 or 12 years before I got this, and it's
Right.
it's really nice.
For sure.
Enjoy it. It's fun. But then when I get back in my work truck and I'm in traffic, I don't have to shift. I enjoy that too.
No kidding. Original radio?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Nope, the original radio, I'm going to, over the winter, pull a cluster out and put a more original looking one in.
Okay. Who actually made the originals? Do you know?
I think it was Delco,
Okay.
but I'm not 100% sure.
We'll turn right on to Thomas.
Okay. That's a good question. Now I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, because I mean, I know in Europe, Alpine was the #1 or go-to manufacturer for cars,
Yeah.
radios. But,
Yeah, my daughter gets a kick out of this because it's a CD player, which you
Yes.
don't use anymore. The face comes out and tips down.
Right.
And my daughter's 14. She'd never seen one like that before, so she thought it was quite comical.
Oh, it's lovely though.
Up. And the, do you want the windows up for the noise?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. We have to get a bit of this first.
Actually, I do like it. Let's
just-
leave it open.
Okay.
Don't worry.
All
about
right.
it. Yeah,
Let's see how the
leave it open.
microphones do. So yeah, I just bumped him by chance. The detailer, I was asking him to look at a couple things in the paint here.
Yeah.
And Art came out. We started talking, and we're talking about his Rolls Royce that he has as well. And
Yeah.
he mentioned you, and it's interesting how you meet people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And at the end of the day, look, we all love our cars, and that's what this is all about. It's
Absolutely.
just sharing the love.
It's like an instant club. I go down the road now, and it's anybody with an old classic car,
Yeah.
or especially a Corvette.
You get the
you get
wave,
the
you get the
wave.
nod.
Yep.
And it's very similar to the motorcycle community, I think.
It is.
Like there's just that acknowledgement that yes,
Absolutely.
you've got something. Wow. I do love this blue glass though.
Isn't it nice?
Oh gosh, yes.
I thought about taking them out for this, but it gets pretty windy,
Right.
pretty noisy,
It's true enough.
and you miss that detail.
Yes. I used to have hair before I got the MG as well. Now it's just disappeared. could do that all day long. It's just
Some days I do. But it's nice and quiet just to cruise like this.
Yes.
Yeah, and just in the 2 months I've had it, it's brought me a lot of joy.
I bet. It's
A lot
worth
of joy.
every cent you've paid for this thing.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
we'll turn right here.
Especially considering the emotional attachment that it was my stepdad's, and this car was a big part of my family coming together. You know, him and my mom going out for dates,
Right.
and the first time I went out and picked my mom up to go for a drive shortly after I got it, and of course that was quite the emotional reunion.
I bet.
Then we went out for lunch in Port Perry and on Lake Scugog. And turns out that was the first place my stepdad had taken my mom.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Did she
it
eat the
was-
same thing?
Sorry?
Did she eat the same thing when you got to the restaurant?
No,
She
different
ordered something
restaurant, but it was
different?
the same town we
Oh,
went
right,
to.
okay.
Yeah.
How cool. The engine sound on this is just
It's nice.
fantastic,
It's
isn't it?
nice. My neighbors aren't the happiest, you know, when I start up first thing in the morning, but
That's okay. It's a good way to either make friends or enemies, but yeah.
Well, we're
they'll
all
get
okay.
around to
We're
it.
all
They're-
okay,
They're
yeah.
all good. They're all good. They
Yeah.
appreciate what you're doing. So, just that rumble alone, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You just listen to
I actually went by a friend's house last week, and I pulled up in front of his house and went in, and he said, "I heard you coming. Actually, I felt you coming."
it. Oh,
It
that's
is.
lovely.
And every time I drive this car, I mean, like I said, I put close to 3,000 kilometers on it in a couple months.
Right.
And it's still, every time, just the emotional, the memories and everything that come
Yeah.
back. It's the sounds, the feel. I mean, I only drove it a couple times as a
Right.
teenager, but everything, just that sound when you take off, everything just brings me right back to being a kid in this car.
Yes. That sense of joy, right?
And oh,
That's a
absolutely.
police car, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, I saw him behind us.
Excellent.
I have not had a speeding ticket in 31 years,
Good
Kevin.
for you. Good for you.
I've been very
And
close.
that's for the record. I gotta tell you something though.
What's that?
Back in the day, I picked up my Trans Am.
Yep.
My wife and I were just driving in the country somewhere. Very first time.
Yep.
I thought, let's just. We turn right here.
Okay.
We thought, let's just go for a little drive, and I kind of hit about 140. Guess who caught me? It was a police officer. So
Oh.
I said, you know what, officer? I just got the car. I just wanted to see what she could do. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just watch your speed next time. He was so nice about the whole thing. But I learned my lesson anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. It's a close ratio transmission, so the gears are tighter ratios than the standard transmission,
Okay.
the standard option, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, third gear carries you quite a ways.
So the very first car you actually drove was this car? Then? Was
No, I was not allowed at 16 to drive this car. I actually didn't drive it until I was probably 18 when
Okay.
my stepdad couldn't drive it. And we took it to a Corvette, or actually just a car show. I don't think it was a Corvette show.
Right.
Right before we sold it. He wasn't able to drive it anymore, so I drove it back and forth from the show for him. And it would have been one of the last times he was in it, and my friend's younger brother was there. They came by to see us, and he wanted to go in it. So my stepfather, Dale, said, yeah, let him go for a ride. So he gave up one of his last rides in it
My lord.
for a kid to go for a ride.
And that kid will never forget it, and we'll turn
Nope.
right back in. Yes, for sure. I mean, that's an act of decency right there. Right?
Oh, that's
It's
what
just
cars are all
lovely.
about. And if you can't,
sure.
help bring the younger generation into it, who's gonna, keep these cars up?
Yeah.
My daughter's already laid claim to this.
And that's what you want, right? You want to make sure it's
Absolutely.
going to stay in the family.
Absolutely.
And just keep her as long as you can.
Yep.
So what made you decide at this point in your life to go and chase this car down?
Well, it's interesting, Kevin. I probably 5 or 6 times over the years, I'd had those insurance slips in my hand and I was about to put them in the recycling bin or the garbage. And each time something stopped me.
Okay, sure.
And this time I was in a spot where I could possibly do it. A friend of mine had passed away and left me a little bit of money.
Okay.
And I thought, something about it just seemed right. there was a number of things that fell into place all at the right time. And I just thought, I'm going to see if I can find it.
Good for you.
And I had located it and been in contact with the owner within 2 days of starting to look.
Wow.
It took me a little while
Yeah.
to track down the VIN, because the VIN numbers, the insurance slips were handwritten.
No way.
So one of the digits was supposed to be an S, which was the manufacturing plant,
Okay.
St. Louis, or St. Louis, and it was a 5. So I went into the Corvette registry to look for it. It came up as an invalid VIN number. And the online ones don't work because these are 13-digit versus the current 17-digit, so
Okay.
they think you're missing numbers. So I went through every digit to see, okay, this one means this engine option, this was this code, this was that code, until I got to the manufacturing plant number, and I thought, wait, I know it was made in St. Louis, so I looked that up. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be an S, so someone just transposed an S to a 5.
Wow.
Once I figured that out, I went to the Service Ontario and I pulled the used vehicle information package, which shows you all of the owners and their towns they're in from day one,
My God.
back in 79
Wow.
to current, and I found them on Facebook.
Good for
So it was
you.
actually a pretty quick process once I decided, okay, I want to find it.
So that little bit of detective work on your behalf sort of certainly paid its dues in the end, didn't it? Because
Absolutely.
That helped you find this this beauty.
Absolutely.
And obviously no plans to sell her, especially with your daughter having...
Absolutely not. Things would have to be in a pretty interesting position for me to want to let this go.
Definitely. No, this is just... You know what? It's what makes you happy. It makes you smile.
Oh.
And you know the thing about it too? And let's be honest, Ron. When you get into a car like this, your focus, I find is particularly when it's a stick shift, is that you're driving, just trying to listen to the engine, listen to that sweet spot, just get it right, and it
Yes.
takes you away from your stresses. in life.
Absolutely. You couldn't have explained that better. It's a whole different experience,
Definitely.
driving as a standard versus an automatic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just this different element that you don't think about, but it's true. Even when I get in my car, it's like there are times when you just want to drive. I don't put the radio on or anything like that. Just want to
Yes.
listen to the engine and just try and get it just right. And it just, for that brief moment, it's like meditation, right? You just kind of
Absolutely. And even if you're trying to enjoy the drive and have a little bit of fun, gearing down, just getting that perfect rev match into a corner,
yes.
I have spent, as most of us do that are into cars, countless hours over the years, imagining driving a nice car down the highway or a sports car, and then to be able to get in and do this anytime I want in this car that was part of the family is quite the experience every time.
No, you said it beautifully, and it's so true, because it makes you happy, puts a smile on your face, it's something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
And let's be honest, we're unfortunate in Canada, especially with the length of our winters and everything else, that we can't drive them all year long.
No.
But yet we know that, hey, you put her away,
Yep.
a few months after, well, it seems an eternity sometimes, but
Yes.
she'll be out again and you'll be able to enjoy her and
Yep.
make the most of it. So,
Absolutely.
So true. But first of all, Ron, thank you so much for making the time to come and see me all the way from Acton, because I could have sworn you were like a local Mississauga lad. So, but I appreciate it so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It was wonderful to meet you. Awesome to hear your story about the car as well. And it looks like she's found a good home again. Or she's
Absolutely.
come back home,
Yes.
right? Like a long lost puppy, and now she's yours forever. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you.